videos from all over the internet that will make you question reality. Let's just start.
Genesis is the beginning. You believe in dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, when's the first dinosaur? When is the first dinosaur bone ever found? I'm not trolling. I mean this.
No, okay. When was it found?
Yeah, it's as late as the 1700s by only straight white men in the West. Nowhere else in Asia. And they were like $1 million a bone. That's why when you go to museums, dinosaur museums, 99% of the bones are replicas made out of rat bones and resin, and the real bones are in the Smithsonian Museum, but that's actually giant bones from the Bible. The Bible talked about the giants. You went your whole life believing in mainstream media's Jurassic Park. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
The Paleolithic era, the Mesozoic, like all these are all fake.
Like, do you believe in evolution?
Yeah, to a certain extent, yes.
Where are the intermediary species between the whale and the whale that grew legs over millions of years of adaptation?
And you pick a good solid one like this one. You set your bubble mix down. Now you can roll them around and play with them. They're really good. Hold this. They do pop though. They just don't last long. That's a good one. Now this one is good. Watch this close. You make some dirt, make some more dirt, and you have a flower. That one, you can do that one. Another one.
These are all illusions. Magical illusions.
You take the ball, you put it into your pocket. You put the lid on it, touch it right there. When you touch it, nothing happens. You have to use the wand. Hold this. Now touch it with the wand. Thank you. That makes the ball come out. Touch it again. That makes the ball go right back to my pocket. You can do that one too. It's called ball and face. Great trick. Let's try this one.
These are tricks.
Now watch me. Take the ball. Put it in my pocket. It'll run across the table and go under the cup. Touch it right there. Thank you. See, that made the ball come back. Now, if I put it back in the cup and take it out, say disappear. And it does. Now, say go home. And it goes straight home. That's a good one. You can do that one too. We got all kinds of good tricks. Look, this is my granddaughter's favorite. You like money? Okay, this one's good. She loves this one.
China is unveiling the future of military technology at Airshow China 2024, introducing a new generation of light arms and an innovative creation, robotic wolves.
Robotic
Modeled as
wolves?
wolves. These machines adopt a pack strategy for coordinated missions. The robotic wolf pack consists of 4 specialized units, each with a unique role. One wolf leads with advanced reconnaissance equipment to gather critical frontline intelligence. Another supports the team with ammunition supplies. 2 other wolves are armed with firearms that can serve as the primary combat forces. Together, they are controlled and coordinated by a central vehicle, allowing the pack to operate within a 2-kilometer range for up to 3 hours.
Elon Musk is obsessed with the fact that the birth rates in places like the United States and Europe are declining, and he doesn't think that the solution to that is to bring in migrants from places like Latin America to fill the declining birth rates. And some of the language around this and some of the concepts around this are not a million miles away from the Great Replacement Theory, which again is an obsession with the idea that the birth rates in Europe and the US are plummeting and we're all being replaced by immigrants. And he certainly has some of that going on in his head, even if he doesn't subscribe to the whole theory.
That's Mrs. Rothschild. Everybody
Mrs.
wants to
Rothschild?
put her up. There's
Okay.
no Baphomet. And I think she's from the side of the family that owns some of the vineyards in France. I think it's Mouton Cadet. But Putin kicked the Rothschilds out of Russia. Putin pushed BP. They had tremendous, looked at it very strongly, they had huge fields that they were developing, 50-50 partnerships with some of the state champions like Rosneft. And these are huge fields, like elephant fields as they call them. And then BP wanted to start to put pipelines and sell the oil overseas, and the Russian government, Putin, said no. You can come here and make oil and make money, but we decide where the oil goes. They continued to make the pipelines, and then one day the IRS, not the IRS, but the equivalent of the EPA showed up and shut down production. Then met with them met with BP and said, congratulations, we've seized all those fields. You no longer have those fields, but here's your shares of Rosneft. And then because of the war, they lost the shares of Rosneft. So they've been completely pushed out of Russia. You should know that, no matter what side of politics and with everything that's going on with Trump. But tonight, in just 15 minutes or so, we're going to talk about Trump's new administration and all these weird deals that he's talking about, like annexing Canada and Greenland and the Panama Canal and so forth. And we're going to put this all together with the stock market. The stock market is basically one and the same now with Nvidia and interest rates. Okay. Now, if you go back in the Bruno library to about November, you'll see the Financial Times article that says the Rothschilds are coming in North America and are joint venturing with the Rockefellers. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's like published in the FT. Some people believe that the FT is also controlled by their family. So here we are. Let's talk about this tonight at 8 o'clock. So let's just kick this around a little bit. The stock market is having a really difficult time understanding AI. That's a pretty good way to put it, right? So the CEO goes to the Consumer Electronics Show and shows these consumer products that are going to be sold for like $1,200. And then today the Biden administration is going to reduce their ability to export to Asia and Russia and other countries that aren't friendly to us. At the same time, there is a plate tectonic-like movement of interest rates higher and higher. What I'm getting at is America appears to be being restructured. This is one of the things you do if you go through restructuring, is you try to seize other assets, like Greenland, okay? And we can all sit around and think about, let me throw a piece of American history in there. General Grant said that the Civil War didn't start in 1861, it started with the Mexican War. This expansion, because they wanted to expand slavery not just to the west, to California, but down into Latin America. And it started with a war in Mexico. This is sort of what this feels like with Trump talking about annexing these other countries. Why? Because a lot like the Confederacy, America has to restructure its debt, and it needs new assets, right? The Confederacy was running out of legitimate soil. At the same time, it had enormous debts. The planter class, the antebellum oligarchy, if you will, was massively in debt, and their core asset, other than the slaves themselves, was the soil. So they needed new soil. So they pushed into Mexico and took everything from the Mississippi to Los Angeles, which is now on fire. So we're going to hit this tonight at 8 o'clock, but just whenever you get lost a little, now, hold on. So there's this conspiracy about Putin and Trump, right? And it is a little bit weird that the first Thanksgiving when Trump was president, Abramovich's massive yacht was at Mar-a-Lago. Abramovich was the Russian who suggested to Yeltsin to pick Putin as the next president. So there's a whole lot of fun here, and she's just a lot of fun too. I don't think she's alive anymore, but she has some resemblance to Ursula from The Little Mermaid, and so we're going to have fun with all that at 8 o'clock. But just remember, whenever you forget why all these strange things are happening, Putins were kicked out of Russia and came to the United States. Did I just say Putin? The Rothschilds were kicked out of Russia and came to the United States.
I was the personal assistant for a billionaire for 10 years. Here are the insane things he made me do, or else he would fire me. He made me sign a contract that said I would go to jail for him if he ever got caught in some shady business. He pays me $100,000 a month because he makes me work overtime all the time. I even missed my wedding dinner to take a call asking what his schedule looked like. He ordered me to buy an island just because he didn't want his rival to vacation there. The island was abandoned for years, but he loved bragging about owning it. He insisted I plan a fake emergency phone call so he could leave a boring meeting, but I had to make it sound believable. He said it was the smoothest exit he'd ever made and gave me a 10K bonus for my acting skills. He makes me supervise his kids to make sure they're completing investing lessons on Bloom. His 15-year-old daughter has already turned her $500 starting balance into $5,000 in 8 months just by completing lessons.
66% of men who come in with ED have some degree of depression. 66%, right? And that's important. Anxiety, 35%, is very important. And more importantly, we'll talk about this. ED is the first sign of other major adverse medical problems. For example, if a man comes into my office today, 15% of them will have a heart attack or a stroke within 7 years. 15%. The day they get ED, 15% will have a heart attack or a stroke within 7 years. It's the first sign. Other studies, Dr. Montorsi showed that if a man presents to the emergency room with a heart attack, on average, 39 months earlier, that's when the ED started. So it is the first sign. Now, there are many reasons for this. One theory is called the arterial diameter theory. The penile arteries are the smallest arteries, 1 to 2 millimeters. The coronary arteries are 3 to 4 millimeters. The carotid, 6 to 7 millimeters. So if you remember from physiology, if you're going to block an artery, 50% occlusion of an artery causes damage. So if you're going to block an artery, you're going to block the penile arteries before the coronary arteries. You're going to block the coronary arteries before you block the carotid, right? Mm-hmm. So men will get ED before they get a heart attack. More likely to get a heart attack before they get a stroke. That's a theory, but it makes sense. So I worry when a man comes into my office, could this man have occult cardiovascular disease?
We know what is happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tension between us and Burkina Faso because our president went and opened his mouth too wide. You saw the video. He went and was doing concern about your neighbor. We all are here. We are suffering. America called you small, and you are so excited, and then your neighbor, you are doing concern about him. You know, and so it has created some diplomatic tension. He went there, went and apologized, but still, it's not the best. So when government changes, we have to go and talk to our neighbors because we must work together.
Before diving into further analysis, it's essential to carefully examine the speech in its context to understand the direction Ghana's newly elected president, John Dramani Mahama, might take in his second term. Delivered just weeks before the elections, the speech encapsulates Mahama's criticism of his predecessor and outlines his vision for the future of Ghana, especially concerning its regional alliances, economic strategy, and stance against neo-colonialism. Mahama strongly criticized outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo for prioritizing relationships with Western nations over strengthening regional ties, especially with neighboring Burkina Faso. He accused Akufo-Addo of cozying up to the West, undermining the potential for meaningful regional collaboration to address security threats. In particular, Mahama condemned Ghana's intelligence sharing agreements with the United States and other Western allies. These arrangements focused on Burkina Faso's partnership with Russia's Wagner Group, a controversial security alliance viewed with suspicion by Western powers. Mahama's rhetoric suggests a potential pivot in Ghana's foreign policy under his leadership. He implied that his administration would prioritize strengthening ties with the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, an alliance comprising Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. This bloc has gained prominence for its anti-imperialist agenda and efforts to reduce dependency on Western powers, positioning itself as a revolutionary alternative in West Africa. Mahama's return to office brings both expectations and concerns based on his previous tenure, 2012 to 2017. During that period, Ghana experienced a significant increase in debt, with the country's debt stock rising by nearly $6 billion. This economic strain was accompanied by challenges in key industries like oil, gold, and cocoa exports, which are critical to Ghana's economy. Critics argued that Mahama's administration lacked fiscal discipline, which further compounded the nation's economic vulnerabilities. These challenges were inherited and exacerbated under Akufo-Addo's presidency. In 2022, Ghana defaulted on a substantial portion of its $30 billion external debt, becoming a stark example of the economic difficulties faced by West African nations reliant on external borrowing. As Mahama assumes office again, he faces the daunting task of addressing this economic crisis. In his campaign promises, Mahama emphasized his intention to renegotiate Ghana's debt agreements with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and seek additional loans to stabilize the economy and resume repayments. While these measures might offer short-term relief, they seem misaligned with the AES's ideological stance. The AES has been vocal in its opposition to Western financial institutions like the IMF, labeling their practices as predatory and neo-colonial. The AES advocates for economic independence and self-reliance, directly challenging the systems that perpetuate Africa's dependency on external powers. This raises a critical question. How will Mahama reconcile his plans to secure IMF assistance with the AES's revolutionary agenda? Can Ghana straddle both worlds, maintaining relationships with Western institutions while deepening ties with the AES? Mahama's critique of neo-colonialism echoes a broader sentiment across the African continent. Despite gaining formal independence, African nations often remain economically subservient to former colonial powers and international financial institutions. This dependency manifests in exploitative trade agreements, debt traps, and the extraction of Africa's vast natural resources for the benefit of external powers. Africa, including resource-rich nations like Ghana, has the potential to become one of the world's wealthiest continents. Its oil, gold, cocoa, and other commodities are in high global demand. However, systemic issues such as corruption, mismanagement, and external exploitation continue to hinder progress. Mahama's vision appears to include addressing these issues, but the extent to which his administration can break free from these entrenched systems remains to be seen. The pressing question is how Ghana will navigate these complex dynamics under Mahama's leadership. Several key considerations emerge. 1. Relations with the AES. Will Mahama embrace the AES's revolutionary anti-imperialist agenda, or will he take a more pragmatic approach, balancing AES ties with traditional partnerships with the West? 2. Tackling neo-colonialism. How aggressively will Mahama address the systemic exploitation of African nations? Will he prioritize regional cooperation and self-reliance over external borrowing and trade agreements? 3. Economic stability. Mahama faces significant economic challenges, including the need to stabilize Ghana's debt-ridden economy. His plans to renegotiate IMF loans may conflict with the AES's vision of economic sovereignty. To gain deeper insights into Mahama's vision for Ghana, let us examine a key speech he delivered upon being declared the election winner. Listening to Mahama's words will allow us to better understand his strategies and the potential course Ghana might take under his renewed leadership.
Ghana has had long-standing relations with all the agencies, and having been president before, I know the kind of work we did together. We need you more than ever before because of the crisis this country is going through. And I've had the opportunity to meet some of you, even during the campaign and before the election. And I've expressed, how I want us to work even closer together to see how we can put Ghana back on its feet. Of course, we all know that Ghana is very important in the geopolitics of West Africa and Africa in terms of upholding democracy and being a model, of peace and security. And it's something that we want to restore as quickly as possible. And so we look forward to working with you, looking at the existing programs, and we need to tweak them to meet the realities of today to do so. I believe we've had discussions with the World Bank and the IMF already, and we look to an early engagement so that we can continue to be on the same wavelength. Of course, in the campaign, several, promises were made, and we need to look at what the reality is in terms of sitting together and seeing what the way forward is. Of course, one of our main concerns, and I think we've expressed it to you several times, is the issue of the humps in the debt repayments, and it's something we need to see how we can smooth it so that we don't default again. That would be more catastrophic than this current default. Aside from that, we know that in the last farming season, the rainfall pattern was very erratic, and so we're anticipating that there's going to be some problem with availability of food And so how we're able to kick in supports to ameliorate the situation is something that we would like to work on. With all the other agencies, UNICEF, UNHCR and all that, we are happy to continue to engage and see how we can strengthen and even uplift the cooperation and the work that we do together. I don't kid myself that it's going to be an easy task. It's going to be quite tough. And I anticipated that we're going to win, but I didn't anticipate the margin by which we're going to win. And that is an indication, like I said yesterday, that Ghanaians have a very high expectation. And so managing that expectation and trying to work as quickly as possible to meet those expectations is something that our team has to look at. We run on the campaign of resetting the nation because we've been in this democratic space since 1992. And the time has come when we must look at some of the issues to do with our governance, our economic management and all that, the fight against corruption and all that, and see how we can lift all that to another level so that we continue to maintain the confidence and faith, especially of our youthful population. A lot of them are losing faith in the whole democratic thing because they think it's not working for them. It's not creating opportunities for them. So those are all things that we need to look at. We're happy we have our first female vice president. She's not only opened the door, but she's going to keep the door open so that others can follow in her footsteps. Happily, this last parliament has passed the affirmative action law. And so we're going to abide by it. Even in the run-up to the campaign, we made a promise that we're going to reserve 30% of appointments for women.
Jane Smith is sitting on a Lufthansa machine bound to Frankfurt, Germany. She empties her second glass of red wine and fastens her seatbelt because the plane is about to land. When Jane exits the aircraft, she goes straight to customs. She shows the officer her American passport. It's black. "Why are you here?" the officer asks. "Supporting technical consultations at the consulate," Jane responds. The officer stamps her passport and she passes through. Jane grabs some euros from an ATM, takes a cab to a nearby hotel, and checks in. You see, Jane lied a little just now, during the customs check. She is not working for a consulate, and despite her passport, she is no diplomat. Jane is a CIA agent, a hacker. She is visiting a covert base of her agency, secretly set up within the American consulate in Frankfurt. But this base, in the heart of Europe,
Germany,
is just one of a giant network spanning all across the globe. What are their functions? And how do these bases operate on foreign territory?
CIA's global hacking program.
Spy stations, Methoden der CIA.
What are the Americans doing now?
A lot of it is with the conditions, like I didn't know, I just felt something was off and something was wrong. And then with this, it just started growing and growing and growing.
Can you walk us through what happened to your skin?
Yeah, I just, I just noticed here.
From the very beginning, one day you woke up and you just had white.
Yeah, I just noticed this here, and then I just, it just started to spread. And
discoloring of your skin.
Yeah, and I never had it before.
And you went to a doctor for it?
Yeah.
I wish I can see his before picture.
They're gonna figure this out, and they just said, maybe it's vitiligo, and I went to, other ones. Gave me EKGs and everything and really didn't get much. And then finally went to my fourth doctor and they did the echocardiogram, and I recommend that for everybody, echocardiogram. Left ventricle was at 27, and one time I collapsed and I was in the hospital for 5 days.
And what did they say it was?
Yeah, they were saying it was more of the heart failure, but if they had caught it sooner, it would have been better, but that's what was going on. My heart was failing, and that's why I have all this
discoloring of the skin. And did they say why you were having heart failure? What it was, was it because of the job?
Yeah, stress.
Okay. The stress.
And then I was still under, the litigation, and there's no answer for anything. Just everything was just pending.
And you were unable to take disability because your paperwork was just pending. They
Yeah.
cut down your hours, maybe gave you desk duty.
Yeah, they wouldn't give me the work disability, which that thing was all, drawn out. And they delayed all of that. They fought me on that.
So you have all of these you have a medical condition going on. You're seeing doctors. No one's doing anything at work to help you, to help aid you. Mentally, where are you at?
Yeah, mentally, I'll just keep going on to the next project and the next thing, and just not realizing, mentally, very strong, but like I think I was mentally stronger than the physical was failing. But mentally, I just doing litigation and media and battles, I'm just born to do that.
Did you say media?
Media, yeah.
What kind of media?
There's a lot of media on what's going on in the jail, on my story, on testifying, my lawsuits. Like when you Google me, there's a lot of media information, and that's just from my criminal background, working on campaigns, working on issues.
So you just quit one day. You decide to walk away from the job, or how did your exit go?
Yeah, a lot of it is just they wanted me to go on a tank for 16 hours, which, the open pod, which we're only supposed to do that for 8. And I just felt, something from the stress, because I had someone that didn't work that day. It was his day off, and they were going to come in. So what they did is said, well, that person has to work, and you have to stay. Now, these are one of the worst takes, is behavioral observation. You got to be alert. You got to be paying attention. You can't be falling asleep. And then I just kind of felt, something from there. And that's when after that day, that's when this thing
broke out.
Show up. But I felt, so maybe, I had some kind of mild heart condition from, all that pressure from there. And I just knew I didn't feel right. They weren't approving my disability. They weren't working with me. So ball's in their court, figure out what you guys want to do.
If we get into a fight and he squares up and he's ready and he's like this, I'm like, we good.
So if you was ever in this scenario and you can see that they have fighting background, you're good.
I don't care what the scenario is, I'm good.
But okay, they push you and stuff. I think they get back with it.
What's wrong, dude?
No, I want to hit. I want to fight.
How far can I go?
Nigga, I'm coming to you. At that point, they're harassing you at that point.
Okay.
You gonna keep running.
I don't care. Harass me. I'm gonna go back to my kid.
Come here.
Waiting for the police.
Come here.
You get more familiar with martial arts, you realize how dangerous this is.
Okay.
Imagine I fight you back.
True.
I'll do jiu-jitsu. Grab you, pick you up, slam you on your head in the concrete, go to the hospital, you have an aneurysm. What happens to me?
Jail. Okay.
What happens if me and you get into a fight, I punch you in the face and I break my hand?
Cast.
For what? Because I spilled a beer on you?
Yeah.
I don't even care that much, bro.
Okay, so.
Unless you're attacking my family, you can do whatever you want to me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Someone smashed a wine bottle.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, that's a different
Yeah, right.
Creeping behind me right now is the clearest case that technology may have gone too far. Officially, this is a Hagama sphere, a multi-copter spherical drone that will see wide use in a variety of scenarios. But what they've really built here is a Langolier, a time devourer. This is how we end up with beholders in the real world, chasing us and shooting lasers. What have we done?
Oh my god. There is no way. No one else is talking about this video. This is just pure evil. Even though I'm not supposed to show you this, I have to. And if you think this is bad, then check out my TikTok subscription. Now I'm going to show you, just please let me explain. For those of you that don't know, this is John Wayne. John Wayne's been in plenty of movies, and at the time was world renowned as one of the best actors of that era. But something was fishy with John. Is that when he was offset, the things he would say to colored people is really what threw everyone off. I mean, it got so bad that people considered him one of the worst of all time and labeled him a racist. And the saddest part is that Hollywood tried to hide this from the world, and that is until this video came out.
Number 2, John Wayne. Famous for his roles in Western films and as a pop culture icon, John Wayne came under fire after making racist comments and paranoid views in interviews. He was reportedly derogatory towards African Americans and downplayed the historical injustices faced by Native Americans.
Let's talk about how women hide themselves to trap you into relationships. Yeah, I said it. Most
Tell us, my bro.
Realize they not dating the real her. What you seeing is the mask she wears, the perfect version she wants you to see. But here's the thing, that version is not real. And if you don't know how to get past it, you setting yourself up for emotional chaos, wasted time, and in some cases, even financial ruin. Hell, sometimes it will ruin your life. There's a lot of people in jail. There's a lot of people 6 feet deep. This is real. But don't worry. King Dre got you. Today, I'm going to break it all down for you and show you the 4 ways to get a woman to reveal her true self. Let's get into this game. First, let's talk about why women even wear a mask in the first place. Women do this for a few reasons. The first, they don't want to scare you off. They like you. The second, they want to look like the ideal woman. They want to look like Miss Perfect. And sometimes they testing you, trying to see how much you'll tolerate before they show their true colors. You gotta watch out. But here's the problem though, my brother. That mask hides the red flags you need to see early. It hides her insecurities, her toxic traits, and all the things that could cause you problems down the line. If you don't figure out who she really is as soon as possible, you gambling with your future, you gambling with your life, and let me tell you, that gamble is rarely worth it. So let me show you how to stop getting played. Peep game, pay attention. The key here is learning how to create an environment where she feels comfortable enough to take that mask off and be herself. And trust me, this isn't about manipulation. This is about protecting yourself and making sure you're building something real. All right, take notes. The first thing you need to do is create a judgment-free zone. And this starts with you. Stop being critical of other people around her. If she hears you talking down about your family, co-workers, other women online, modern women, even strangers, she's going to assume you'll do the same to her. And that's when the mask stay glued on. Now, if you're a funny guy and you're roasting people in public, people watching, just roasting for jokes, that's a little bit different, but you don't want to make it judgmental. Instead, keep it chill, stay neutral. For example, if she brings up something that might be controversial, just listen and say something like, "That's interesting. Tell me more." You get her to talk more about it. You don't got to start bombarding your opinions and all that crazy mess. This helps her feel safe enough to open up and show you who she really is. Number 2, mirror her energy. If she's reserved and quiet, don't come in all extra over the top. That's only going to push her further into her shell. On the flip side, if she's being vulnerable and opening up, you got to match that vulnerability. Women connect with what feels familiar. I'll say that again. Women connect with what feels familiar. When she feels like you're aligned with her, she'll naturally let her guard down. That's when the real her starts to show. Number 3, and a lot of y'all do this, avoid turning sensitive topics into debates. Politics, religion, her past, body counts. These are tests. If you come on too strong, she gonna shut down and keep the conversation surface level. Relax, bro. Have fun. Instead of arguing or challenging her, try asking open-ended questions like, what made you feel that way? Or how did you come to that conclusion? That's what I always do. That's what I always say when it's some deep shit. Well, why you feel like that? What make you feel like that? Or what brought you to that conclusion? You see what I'm saying? This shifts the focus from conflict to understanding. And when she feels understood, she'll start to trust you more. I'm going to say that again. When she feels understood, she'll start to trust you more. And finally, number 4, show acceptance and tolerance. Show acceptance and tolerance. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything she say, but you shouldn't come off as judgmental. Relax. Keep it to yourself. You want to show that you're healthy and you're accepting of things and you tolerate things. Don't be a judgmental prick, bigoted, racist, sexist, misogynist. You can be that, but you, in order to get a woman to let her guard down, you have to show that you are accepting of and tolerant other perspectives and other people. Do you understand what I'm saying? For example, if she shares something personal, respond with something like, "I get where you coming from," or "I can see why you feel that way." That's a big one with women. I can see why you feel that way. These small gestures go a long way in helping her drop her defenses and be her authentic self. You see, when you create this kind of environment, you're giving her the space to show you who she really is. And let me tell you, this is crucial. You can't choose the right woman for you if you don't see her true self. Otherwise, you just gambling. And in this game, the stakes are very, very high. Your time, your energy, your money, your peace, your life is on the line. Now, if you want to dive deeper into this and learn exactly how to spot red flags, avoid emotional chaos, and confidently choose the right woman, check out my course, How to Vet Women Properly. This course is packed with actionable strategies to help you protect yourself and make smarter choices in dating. Don't gamble with your future. Don't gamble with your life. Take control of it. The link is in the description. Check it out now. And fellas, all women are not bad. I'm not up here trying to say that women are the boogeyman, because women are not the boogeyman. However, enough of them are that you need to be very, very careful, right? The right woman for you
True that.
is out
Very
there.
true.
But you'll only
That's why
find her if you know how to spot that mask, see that true self, and don't get caught up in the game. Take charge and make sure you're building something real. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more. And
Comment
always
and subscribe.
Stay solid. It's your gracious game advisor. Yours truly, King Dre. I'm gone.
The jab can hit way more often than a cross. If it's way back here, how often can I get that shot off? But instead, in Jeet Kune Do, we've actually switched it. We put the lead side forward. I can throw the jab way more often and way faster than a rear punch. And if I put my strongest weapon forward, that's why Bruce Lee did it. He put his strong side lead. He threw hard with that lead punch. Then he can knock out the person with just one shot. If I'm going to sneak my hand forward like that, like a lot of other fighters do to get that shorter distance, then I don't want to pull back and telegraph. I need to go direct from there. And also with my foot, if I step first and then throw, he already sees me move. Instead, my hand goes first like a fencer. Boom, this goes in, and then the body moves like that. If you notice, that also means I'm mid-air when I strike. When I'm mid-air when I strike, boom, there's way more power in that strike because my whole weight is coming forward into that punch. Bam, like that.
I can give a homeless guy $1 million, he'll be broke in 6 months. With the best of intentions, because nothing changed here and here. The word capital comes from the Latin root word capitas. It means knowledge in the head. It doesn't even mean money.
Remember that robot from China that can crawl walls?
Yeah.
Now they fully have dispersed it. It's available. And I want you guys to watch this robot and just think about if you saw 1,000 of these coming right on in. Now just think about this. If the military decides to use this thing, this is not some, it can walk too, but this thing has got wheels.
Yeah.
It can go on terrain. It can go in the water. It can go on rocks.
I just did a tray flip.
Look at this. This is more efficient than any human. But look at its arms. It's still crawling and walking. And this is fully autonomous. It goes downstairs with no problem. It goes straight into the water.
Oh, wow.
It's like, imagine this. What are you going to do with your... Look at that. You know how hard that is to walk up slippery rocks?
I know I ask this a lot, but does it come in black?
Absolutely. Comes in camo.
No further questions.
These robots are available now. That robot is $150,000 per robot, full package, fully autonomous. It also can carry a human. You can get on the back of it. It can carry up to a 180-pound human.
Does it have a weapon system?
Yeah, you can attach guns to it. And drones can drop them off anywhere. What happens when they deploy 1,000 of these anywhere in the world? Who's stopping that?
Did you know that you can actually grow taller at any age? Sounds impossible, right? But it's true. And it all comes down to the fact that your bones can change over time. Don't believe me? Take Rustam Akhmetov as an example. He experienced remarkable growth in his late 20s. Initially standing at an average height of 5'8", Rustam dedicated himself to exercising techniques based on Wolff's Law. Gradually, he saw remarkable results, with his height increasing from 5'8" to an impressive 6'2". Now, let's take a look at Devon Larratt, the famous arm wrestler. Have you ever noticed the difference in the length of his arms? One is noticeably longer than the other. And guess what? The longer arm is the one he trains. Coincidence? I don't think so. And then there's the Maasai tribe in Kenya. These folks are known for being some of the tallest people on the planet, with an average height of about 6'3". They are able to grow to such heights using the scientific principle called Wolff's Law. This concept was formulated by the German anatomist and surgeon Julius Wolff in the 19th century. He stated that bone in a healthy animal will adapt to the loads under which it is placed. That is the reason why bodybuilders have a higher bone density than the average guy. So, how can we actually apply this to help us grow taller? In this video, I'll reveal the 3 steps the Maasai people, Rustam Akhmetov and Devon Larratt, use to increase their height at any age, with the final step being the most important step that can actually make your bones grow taller. Step 1. Boost your growth hormone. Growth hormone plays a key role in increasing your height. Without proper levels of it, no matter how many exercises or stretches you do, growing taller will remain out of reach. But don't worry, I'm going to share 3 effective ways to boost your growth hormone. Sleep. Did you know that most of your growth hormone is released within the first 90 minutes of sleep? Neurologist Andrew Huber highlights just how crucial sleep is for growth hormone production. He explains that growth hormone is released every night during the early stages of sleep, known as slow wave sleep. To ensure your body regularly secretes growth hormone for tissue repair and other benefits, you need to reach this deep sleep stage with low levels of insulin and glucose in your blood. So, if you want to maximize your growth hormone, prioritize getting enough deep sleep. One way to enhance sleep quality is by reducing blue light exposure before bed. Try turning on your screen's reading mode or invest in blue light blocking glasses. Intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is another great way to boost HGH levels. Fasting triggers spikes in growth hormone, aiding in fat loss and muscle gain. Here's a simple method to incorporate it into your routine. Fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. Also, try to avoid eating 2 hours before bed to keep lower levels of insulin throughout your sleep. Exercise. Certain exercises can significantly boost growth hormone levels, and one of them is sprinting. When I sprint, I go all out for 30 seconds, then rest for 1 to 3 minutes before repeating it 5 times. I do this 2 to 3 times a week for maximum growth hormone release and recovery. Make sure you follow these 3 steps to naturally boost your growth hormone. Step 2, the Maasai jump. When you watch the Maasai people jump, it's hard not to be amazed by their incredible physiques and the impressive height they reach with each leap. Before we dive into how to master this jump, let's first understand why this practice can actually help lengthen your bones. The key lies in the repeated vertical jumps. Doing this for 15 to 20 minutes daily can create tiny microfractures in your bones. When this happens, Wolff's Law kicks in. As we've learned, under constant pressure, bones naturally rebuild themselves stronger and longer. To jump like the Maasai tribe, focus on keeping your entire body stiff from head to heel while maintaining slightly bent but not locked knees and hips, allowing for flexibility. As you jump, make sure the back of your feet never touch the ground between leaps, generating most of your power from your ankles. Now that these microfractures have formed, your bones will begin to regenerate and grow stronger. However, if you rest while standing or sitting normally, they will grow in width rather than length. That's why step 3 is the most crucial part of this process. Step 3, stretching before sleep. In order to maximize your growth, you need to stretch your body before going to bed. The best way to do that is to hang from an elevated surface. Hold the bar tightly and try not to touch the ground with your feet for as long as you can. Position your palms to face away from you and relax your body. If you are a beginner, start with 20 seconds and gradually increase the time. If you perform this before bed, along with everything else we've discussed, you can expect to grow at least 2 to 4 inches taller, regardless of your age or genetics.
Donald Trump just posted a video that blames Benjamin Netanyahu for pushing America into wars in the Middle East. And as you listen to this, think of how Donald Trump must really think about Benjamin Netanyahu.
Why did the U.S. invade Iraq? It was a phony war. Where did that war come from? You know what? It's quite surprising. That war came from Netanyahu, actually. You know that? It's weird. And the way it is that Netanyahu had, from 1995 onward, the theory that the only way we're going to get rid of Hamas and Hezbollah is by toppling the governments that support them. That's Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And the guy's nothing if not obsessive. And he's still trying to get us to fight Iran this day, this week. He's a deep, dark son of a bitch, sorry to tell you, because he's gotten us into endless wars, and because of the power of all of this in the U.S. politics, he's gotten his way.
Wow. So we're going to see really soon if Trump and Netanyahu are going to get along.
Jewish people considering Christians as idols worshippers. Why? Because Jewish people, first of all, they don't know Christianity. We just know that it's wrong. It's a different religion in Christianity, that Jesus is God. That is their faith. I think it's called Trinity. They believe that Jesus, He is God. Now, for Jewish people, to say that a man is God, that's a mistake. For us, like, that is the answer. When we hear about someone like that, that person is saying, that man was no man. He was not a man. He was God. It's God. He was God and He is God and He will always stay God. For us, simple Jewish people that are following halakha, that's a mistake. You can never say that something else except for God is God.
For good in bed is for small boys. Don't be good in bed, know the vagina. It's as simple as that. Good in bed is for boys. Know the vagina is for men who understand the vagina. Our biggest competitor right now is not other men.
This made me relax.
Men can learn a few things from women. There are more women in Kenya who can give other women orgasms than there are men, in fact.
Oh.
And I'm saying that as a guy who has seen, I've now taught what, almost 6,300 vaginas now.
You have done what?
I've taught 6,300 vaginas.
You've taught?
Taught. How to orgasm.
You mean women?
Yes, women, yes. Yes. Well, they're the ones with vaginas. But I teach the vagina. See, I don't teach the woman, it's the vagina. If she had something else other than the vagina, for example, if where the vagina was, if she had a microphone, I don't know how to make microphone squirt. So I teach the vagina. It's not an insult, it's a fact. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you go to an ENT guy, he's dealing with your nose and your ears and stuff. So I have to
PT creator Sam Altman is facing a sexual abuse lawsuit for allegedly molesting his sister as a child. In a complaint filed Monday, the sister of the tech CEO claims that he abused her several times per week, beginning with oral sex and later involving penetration. Ann Altman alleges the abuse started in 1997, when Ann was 3 and Sam was 12, and lasted for 10 years. The OpenAI CEO has denied the claims in a joint social media post with his mother and 2 brothers, calling the allegations utterly untrue. The family said that Anne faces mental health challenges, and they have helped her financially, but said she continues to demand more money from them. Ann Altman has previously made sexual abuse allegations.
How true is it, or she's trying to just extort from the billionaire?
$75,000 in legal fees.
So we've come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. And one of the most fascinating things I saw in these videos were the robots in China. Like, it's crazy, it's creepy, it's actually creepy. And also the Rothschilds and the Rockefeller and Putin throwing them out of Russia. Yeah. So yeah, we've come to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.